As always, with the morning brief, where we keep you updated with all things current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago as a wider entity, regionally and internationally. The Elections and Boundaries Commission, EBC, has advised that the preliminary tabulation and verification of results from the Tobago House of Assembly election held on Monday, January 12th, 2026, has been completed in accordance with established electoral procedures. In a media release yesterday, the EBC said of the total registered electorate of 53,239 voters across 15 electoral districts in Tobago, voter turnout was recorded at approximately 50.69%. The distribution of votes received by the political parties are as follows: IDA 181, People's National Movement 10,456, Tobago People's Party 16,240, and the Unity of the People 8. The total valid votes were 26,885, and the total rejected ballots were 104. The release further confirmed that based on the preliminary count, the Tobago People's Party, TPP, won all 15 electoral districts. The People's National Movement formally requested a recount in 2 electoral districts, namely Darrell Spring Wim and Scarborough Mongrace. The Commission emphasized that the results are preliminary and remain provisional pending the completion of the recounts and the final validation process. So we know that the recount started at 3 p.m. yesterday. The EBC will update the information. And also, while on that point, there would have been talks, especially in the social media space, that the voter turnout was so low as to say that it was around 23%. So we see that the EBC has debunked that it was a 50.69%. A drop, yes, but not that significant, staying within the same realm, a little over 50%. Moving on, the People's National Movement Tobago Council has formally extended congratulations to the Tobago People's Party following their success in the recent Tobago House of Assembly THA election. In a press statement dated 13th January 2026, the party affirmed the conclusion of the electoral process and acknowledged the democratic decision made by the people of Tobago. Respecting the election outcome, the PNM recognized the clear mandate given to the incoming administration to lead the THA. The organization emphasized that at this critical juncture, the advancement of the island must supersede political affiliations. The statement called for the Assembly's work to be driven by the collective interest of all sectors, including urban and rural communities, the youth, seniors, and the business sector. The PNM offered best wishes to the incoming Chief Secretary, Executive Council, and Assembly members, hoping for wisdom, stability, and success in their governance. The U.S. Embassy's American Citizen Services Unit has announced a visit to the island to provide essential in-person services for American citizens. This outreach aims to facilitate administrative processes such as passport renewals and notary services directly on the island, removing the immediate need for travel to Trinidad. In addition to these services, so in addition to these services, the embassy will host a town hall meeting led by the Charge d'Affaires, Dr. Jennifer Neidhart de Ortiz. The event presents a significant opportunity for U.S. citizens in Tobago to engage directly with a senior diplomatic leadership. The visit and town hall are scheduled to take place on Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. Citizens requiring assistance or wishing to attend the town hall are advised to prepare the necessary documentation ahead of the scheduled date. And now we take a look at regional developments in Jamaica. Police in Clarendon yesterday seized a cache of illicit items, including $5 million in cash at a house in the community of Palmetto Pen. According to reports from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, during a search, police uncovered approximately 162 pounds of ganja, uncustomed cigarettes, and bulk quantities of rum. The operation took place sometime after 2:30 p.m. The raid was part of ongoing efforts by the Clarendon police to curb drug trafficking and other criminal activities in the parish. Community members were being urged to assist authorities by reporting suspicious activities to help maintain safety across the parish. One woman was arrested as the investigation continues. So, regional brothers there. And finally, wrapping up internationally, U.S. President Donald Trump has cancelled meetings with Iranian officials and urged protesters to continue demonstrating, saying, quote, help is on its way as Iran intensifies its crackdown on nationwide unrest. A U.S.-based human rights group estimates at least 1,850 protesters have been killed in more than 2 weeks of demonstrations. Iranian authorities imposed a communications blackout, allowing limited international calls after several days while internet access remained cut off. Iran's national security chief, Ali Larijani, condemned Trump's remarks, accusing him and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of responsibility for Iranian deaths. Israel said it remains defensively prepared, but described the process as an internal Iranian issue. Iranian officials have blamed the unrest on foreign-linked terrorists and rejected criticism of their response. We see 1,850 protesters killed. Well, at least we know that information is coming from a U.S.-based humanitarian group. We always take information in this day and age with a pinch of salt, but we know that Iranian protesters are being killed by authorities. We saw last year that the U.S. would have struck Iran after that small conflict between Iran and Israel. So we pay attention to that. We also pay attention to what we are seeing now as a push for imperialism and neocolonialism around the world. We pay attention. We never take our eyes off international conflicts. So as I said this morning, we continue conversations. It's post-election conversations. And weighing in on the conversation with me this morning is none other than Dr. Vanus James, economist, as he comes to give his stance, his take, or his predictions as an economist following a Monday's election. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to be right back here as we continue these conversations. Again, thank you so much for joining us. In the meantime, do me a favor and share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be back.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships. It's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
Who said the elderly can't have fun too? We're talking good food, proper music, lots of games, and a day at the beach they will never forget. From the time we left the compound at Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, the vibe was already established. Wheels up and seatbelts on. Watch now, when we touched down in Pigeon Point, everybody was ready for excitement. But before anything could take place, we had to secure bellies. You ever play bingo by the beachside? Well, that was the first activity on the roster, and boy did these seniors have fun. However, others wanted something more physical, so we brought out the ring toss, and not even arthritis could have stopped them. Well, I was blown away at how straight these people were. Are you sure this is a home for the elderly? Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, but nothing beats the song of Good Steel Pan by the shores while we take a dip in Tobago's finest water. Wait, more food again? This is my type of event. The energy was amazing and nothing short of a blessing. Pick up Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, because joy doesn't retire, laughter doesn't age, and memories like these last forever.
To a stranger.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Viewers, welcome back to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. Thank you so much for staying with us as we go through the week. It is a post-election conversations. Post the TPP making a clean sweep on Monday night, sending their camp into jubilation. Joining me this morning is Dr. Vanus James, economist, as we speak on the election. Dr. James, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you. Having a bit of a technical difficulty. Dr. James? All right, so viewers, in the meantime, while we work on that reconnection with Dr. James, or possibly even take him on the phone, we take a look back at Monday night. We remember that by 8 p.m., the Tobago People's Party camp right here on the Port Mall was already in jubilation. They had already called 7 seats around 8 p.m. All right, Miss Dr. James, are you on?
I'm here, but I'm not hearing you clearly.
Oh, you're not hearing me clearly. The technical team is working on that. Are you hearing me any better right now, Dr.
I'm
James?
hearing you a little bit better now.
A little bit. All right. Thank you so much again,
You're hearing
sir.
me?
Yes, sir, I am. Thank you again for joining us. Always a pleasure having you. So on Monday night, we saw the Tobago People's Party make a clean sweep on the island. Very different from the predictions that persons would have had prior, leading up to the election date, where persons would have had predictions of 11-4, 13-2, and so forth. But the Tobagonians, the 50.69% of them, of the electorate that went out, voted resoundingly for the Tobago People's Party. So looking back at the 4 years and even the lead up, with, if we look at just the 8 months leading up to the election, in your view, what do you think influenced that support for the Tobago People's Party?
Well, from what I observed, the fundamental issue really there is the type of opposition that was put forward to discuss the issues before the people of Tobago, the substance, the lack of substance in the PNM really, and the failure of the PNM to learn and to grow and to adjust and bring proper solutions to the people of Tobago. So you got several kinds of indicators from the results. Half of Tobagonians just didn't bother to vote. That's the first thing. And we can't ignore that. That's a huge issue. And that really is a measure of the performance of the society over the 4 years. This is one of the outcomes. The inadequacies that are expressed in our systems of representation in the political parties that we are working with. It tells you a story about the deep need for development here in Tobago. Even the political parties are ill-equipped to grapple with our problems. That's the first thing that you should not ignore as a society. And secondly, 30% of the persons who are eligible to vote in Tobago voted for the winning side. So that leaves 70% unrepresented on the basis of the sweep. And that exposes Tobago to the need to ponder on the deeper problems with the system of government we're running. It was 14-1, now it's 15-0, expressed by the inadequacies of the political process that we are working with. I monitored the elections, and what I saw was really not what I would call elections, but a carnival of music, really, and very little sensible discussions about anything that matters to Tobago. And the population was making that judgment, both the Tobago population and the national population and the media, without access to a proper evaluation of the performance of the government. I monitor the data every day for a living, and I can tell you that this is a society that was undergoing a decline to being the worst performing of all 15 administrative districts of the country. And that's transparently there in the data published by the CSO. Not data published by the THA, but the data published by the CSO. But the public doesn't have access to that information. And so, even though people like me would try to bring it, the media's understanding of the issues and its coverage tends to be something of a barrier to sharing and communicating that kind of detail. So the public is evaluating the performance of the government without the information needed. And that's what I saw in the elections. Now, what all that translates to ultimately now is, okay, we have a government, you have to get up and get running. And the government really has to understand what has happened there and not misread it to say Tobagonians endorse. This is not Tobago endorsing the underperformance of the government. You're tempted to read that, but you could only make that judgment if you had adequate participation in the elections. This is not that. What this is an expression of the disgust of 50% of the electorate and the unwillingness of and the inability, much more so than unwillingness, the inability because of the nature of the opposition, the inability of Tobagonians to come together to set up a government that is representative of all its parts. The way the system is rigged up, what you have now as a result of this is an expression of deep need to change the structure of the government here in Tobago. That, if I were the government that just won there, I would pay a lot of attention to that, because that is the number one signal that this sends. Not support. That's the 30% support. Is very similar to the one that gave you the 14-1.
Right.
So that's a continuation of the 14-1 effectively into 15-0. That's very similar. But what is the effect of it? The government of Tobago will now be an executive council purely. Now, what does that tell you? You are even lowering your capacity to get access to the information and understand the information needed to govern. And you only have 30% of the electorate behind you confronting the deep challenges of development. And that can't be dealt with by calling for unity. That has to be dealt with by restructuring the government so everybody could feel they are part of the process. That's the way you understand why 50% didn't go out and vote.
And on that 50%,
it's
Dr.
much
James,
more important for Tobagonians to understand what I'm saying there than anything else.
On that 50%, Dr. James, I want to ask you making a comparison between either voter apathy or the human development of the persons on the island, citizens of the island, because we know that in countries where the human resources are less developed, less educated, they are more likely to stay away from the polls. So that 50% of Tobagonians that did not go out to the polls, making a comparison, do you think it's mostly voter apathy, or is it that underdevelopment of a vast majority of the citizens on this island?
No, I don't think so. I know the data. I am the one who published the data on the education of the public. So I don't think, when I look at the evidence, I don't think you could say that the turnout is a reflection of something called voter apathy. To my mind, and as a student of the process, this is a reflection of the structure of the government that we're working with. Trinidad just finished an election. They got 50% of the people came out to vote the same way. It's the same thing. The fundamental problem is the government is rigged up so that people do not have an abiding stake in the way it works. The structure of the government. The structure of the government now in Tobago, in Trinidad now, and so on, is that you only have an executive government at work. There is no legislative component to the government, really. The executive is the legislature. And once you have that, it means you're shutting out. There's no mechanism by which everybody could say, I have this issue, let me go talk to the legislature about it. And once you have that, people feel disenfranchised and they pull aside. And this is an engineered problem that's created here, what you call an apathy. So people are smart enough, whether they are highly educated or not, they have enough, at least common sense, to know how to tell you the problems that they are facing and the way they think you should try to solve them. But if you're not setting up a system through which the information could be shared, then you won't get them to buy in to anything that's happening. They'll stand aside, as this government will find out, and should have found out in the last 4 years. People will stand aside and say, you win, you solve the problems. And remember, the way we do the election too, you go out, you offer hampers, you cultivate dependence and so on. And then that same practice causes both the apathy on the one hand, when you look over a long period of time, of dependence, and on the other hand, disconnects them from the effort to pursue the solutions. So at best, this government will find that it has 30% of the electorate willing to support it in whatever it's trying to do. Where you can't develop Tobago if you only have 30% of the population rallying to the effort.
Dr. Vanas, on January 1st, the Tobago People's Party presented their blueprint, a 20-year projected plan of all the developments that they have, that they would like to see put forward in Tobago. Do you think that the people of Tobago bought into this blueprint? And also another question is, where do you see the THA finding the resources needed to bring this blueprint into fruition?
Well, the 30% supported it. That's the way you have to interpret the data. You have no other data in front of you. 30% who support, for whatever reasons they will have, they are the ones who supported what you're calling the blueprint. The record you have is that 70% did not. So where you go with that? How are you going to move forward to implement that, even if it made sense? And that's a big even. Even if it made sense, how do you get it to work when 70% of the society is saying, well, I don't agree with you? What are you going to do? Then what you have to do then to make sense of it is to set up the government so you could really hear what people think. Because you can't hear now and the elections really haven't told you anything. So you've got to use the powers of the THA Act to set up the government in a way that allows everybody to come to the process, friend or foe. How do you get the 11,000 people who voted for the PNM? How do they get heard? They can't be left underrepresented or unrepresented, and then you expect to be able to go somewhere with your blueprint. because they're going to have to buy into it. And if they're telling you in the elections they don't agree with you, well, then what? And so on. And the same would be true for the 50% who didn't bother to vote. So you have to think that there are powers in the THA Act that you better use in order to make any sense of what you're calling the blueprint. But secondly, on the matter of the money, what you're dealing with here in Trinidad and Tobago now is a state of an economy that is unable to find the foreign exchange to procure the imports needed in order to set up a development process wherever you're trying to set it up, Tobago or Trinidad. And then you're also dealing with the fact that nothing you try to do in Tobago can work without appropriate national policies. If you understand the nature of the problem we have, you would see that it's national policy reform that you would need in order to remove the barriers to diversification of the national economy and, by extension, the barriers to the development of the Tobago economy. So until you understand that, you're just dreaming about turning what you're calling a blueprint into a road march for development. Those two things I mentioned about the nature of the participatory process, the way you bring the whole society together, and the absence of the financing, the mechanism, the normal routine run of foreign exchange to drive anything you're trying to do. Those two things are going to shut you down. That explains a lot of what happened in the last 4 years, plus poor policies internally, but poor policies at the national level as well. They combine to block Tobago from going anywhere. This is not a problem with this particular administration. It's 141 years old in our history. So we have to be thoughtful about all of that if we want to talk about going forward.
Dr. Vanas, so no opposition on the island, reflective of 2013, where the PNM made a clean sweep. We would have seen over the 21 years that the People's National Movement was in power on the island. Citizens' complaint was that the People's National Movement became disconnected, even persons saying entitled to governance on the island. Is it that Tobagonians have set up themselves for a repeat of that same trend?
Well, it's not inevitable that you get the consequences of the 12 zip in 2013 in this 15-0. You have to learn. The reason we went nowhere under London is the same reason we went nowhere under Williams in 1971 when they won 36 seats in Trinidad. It's not new. The country has to learn that the fundamental problem from 1956 to now is that Williams rejected the arguments of CLR James, that you have to set up the government so everybody could bring the information they have to you. You win the government under the system we have by an absolute first past the post majority in all your seats. But once you have it, you then have a problem that those who lost and those who didn't participate will have information you need, and they're coming to talk to you under the system that you have, because you have no system for them to come, right? So you then find that you have to govern with only your supporters. It has never worked, and it won't work now either. It didn't work in the last 4 years. Under the structure that we had in the last 4 years, when we had one PNM in the House, from the point of view of the victory, Tobago's economy became the worst performing component of the national economy. It's the least developed of the 15 administrative districts, and it became the least under the 14-1 arrangement. So where do you expect to go with a 15 zip? The mechanism that drives that has to be understood. And it's the fact that you're trying to run a government with inadequate information, so you can't make sound decisions, sound policies. Blueprint, no blueprint makes no difference. Ultimately, sound, as Kamala is discovering in Trinidad, it's not the UNC manifesto that tells you what to do. It's the fact that you do not have an adequate way to involve the public in deciding on what is to be done that ultimately makes you continue to pursue bad policies. That's going to be true in Trinidad. It's going to be true here in Tobago. And until we confront that, we're not going anywhere. No matter what you dream of in the night when you go to your bed, if you don't wake up and set up proper systems using the powers of the THA Act, and you can do a lot under the current THA Act, you're not going anywhere. I mean, let me draw your attention to one important thing that the public needs to ask. The THA Act provides the THA with the power to do things no other administrative district could do in Trinidad. It could retain money that the others have to send back to the consolidated fund. It could raise development and recurrent budgeting funds outside of what the central government has offered. Yet they leapfrogged Tobago in the last 4 years, and Tobago is now the last. How come? It has to be about poor policy making, poor understanding of the possibilities, because you're talking to yourself and your friends. If you continue doing that, you're only talking to 30% of the electorate. You cannot develop Tobago. I mean, the data I'm giving you tells you Tobago is going in the wrong direction. It's not heading towards being the greatest little island. If you can't beat the local 15 other 14 districts, how do you beat St. Kitts Nevis? That is marching upwards quickly. You can't do it under the system of government we're running. You've got to wake up and face that. You're making poor policy. You can't rally the population to come and support what you're doing, even if they lost in the election. You can't do it. How do you bring the 11,000 PNM people? They are Tobagonians. And they are activists. That's 11,000 activists, just like your 16,000 activists. How do you build a Tobago economy without them? You have to ask and confront that. Plus, how do you build it without the 50% who say, to hell with it, I ain't bothering with this process?
Right.
You can't do it. And you have to face that, and you have to ask, what are the powers available to me under the THA Act to set up a process, not town hall meetings, a proper process through which they can share what they know routinely. You don't need constitutional reform for Tobago to do that. The powers of the THA Act allow you to move right away. What do you do with the communities? You don't need the THA Act to change in order to bring the communities properly into the process. But you have to understand what that means and allow the thing to get started. It's 141 years, as I said, 127 under this link with Trinidad. We ain't going nowhere, and we went backwards in the last 4 years, and we're heading towards the Stone Age if we keep going where we're going here. So this has to change. The system has to change.
Morning, always a very insightful conversation with you. And I know over the next 4 years, we don't have an opposition, but I know that persons like yourself that monitor the stats daily, we will be turning to you for direction and advice, and even to keep us in the know with what is actually happening in the economy. Again, thank you so much, Dr. James. Viewers, we were talking to Dr. Vanus James, economist, as we continue to have post-election conversations. You know, when the programming here on Sunrise is done with me, we continue with the morning show and then on to Good Morning Tobago. And so the morning show this morning, we have Dwayne and Jaysha. Dwayne and Jaysha, good morning.
Good morning, Lavian.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Continuing those post-election conversations, I know that you all will have a really packed show that you are excited to jump into. The youth show and never ever disappoints. And I wish you guys a really, really great one today, all right? And I'll definitely see you tomorrow. Viewers, that's it for Sunrise here this morning on Tobago Updates Television. Thanking you so much for waking up early and joining me each and every morning. Tomorrow we continue conversations, and we have none other than Watson Solomon Duke joining us tomorrow morning as we continue these conversations post-election. Continue viewing Tobago Updates Television, and of course, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So, even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
Who said the elderly can't have fun too? We're talking good food, proper music, lots of games, and a day at the beach they will never forget. From the time we left the compound at Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, the vibe was already established. Wheels up and seatbelts on. Watch now, when we touched down in Pigeon Point, everybody was ready for excitement. But before anything could take place, we had to secure bellies. You ever play bingo by the beachside? Well, that was the first activity on the roster, and boy did these seniors have fun. However, others wanted something more physical, so we brought out the ring toss, and not even arthritis could have stopped them. Well, I was blown away at how straight these people were. Are you sure this is a home for the elderly? Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, but nothing beats the song of good steel pan by the shores while we take a dip in Tobago's finest water. Wait, more food again? This is my type of event. The energy was amazing and nothing short of a blessing. Big up Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, because joy doesn't retire, laughter doesn't age, and memories like these last forever.
To a stranger.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, viewers, and welcome to the Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show, coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Now, for those of you joining in as you just wake up, you're taking your morning breakfast, or even tuning in as you drive on the road, thank you so much for choosing Tobago Updates to start your morning on the right note. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I don't know this face, and never heard this voice before, my name is Luke James Strim, and I am so excited to be your host this morning. I'm also joined by...
Good morning, Tobago. I am Jaisha Digans, and I'm happy to be here. And of course, we are also joined by
Dwayne William Jr. Ness. And I'm certainly no stranger to you. And a special good morning to all our ardent viewers, wherever you're viewing us in the world, on whatever device, Android or iOS, whether you're viewing us on YouTube, is it on AMPLIA? Yes, AMPLIA, Digicel. Whew. So many platforms, but
yes.
Good morning to all our ardent viewers. We have come out of Christmas. We have come out of a very tumultuous, or might I say, very interesting election period, and we have a lot to discuss with you and for you this morning. But I hope that your morning is going well. How are you guys doing this morning, though?
Well, I'm definitely having a good morning. And how about you, Luke?
I'm blessed and highly favored.
Favored or flavored?
A little bit of both.
As one of my partners say, he's blessed and highly flavored and marinating in the Lord.
Amen.
That's right.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on the election results, guys? I don't think we got to debrief after that night because everybody went home. We were so tired. But Jaisha.
Well, as I said on the night of elections, congratulations to Mr. Fali Chavez Augustin and his team for their victory in the elections. And what about you doing?
Congratulations to the political leader and the Tobago People's Party. I know that the elections, and what I must say though is that the election it wasn't as bad as I might have anticipated that it would be. From the onset, my hope was that it would remain clean, it would remain policy oriented, and so on. And by and large, it was so. minus some of the utterances that were made on the hustings, right? That was kind of disappointing. But we came through the election, saw no casualties, thank the Lord. Or might I say, physical casualties. But I'm grateful that the election process is now over and we can go back to governing Tobago and moving Tobago forward. But congratulations to the Tobago People's Party.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I think that's an important point that you made, Dwayne, that even after the elections, it's important for us to continue to work together as Tobagonians, because before party, we are Tobagonians first.
Correct.
So, despite wearing party colors and, of course, supporting your party as you can, after this period, we all have to work together and unite for the betterment of Tobago.
And I also want to give credence or credit to the youth. Because I don't have the statistics, but based on what I've observed on that day, I know a lot of the youth came out and rendered their support, and they went out and vote. The voter turnout was way a lot higher than I anticipated, but lower in the last state THA election, which was marginally so. But I must say, to all those that exercise a democratic right, I was saying demographic right all the time, purposefully, but just for the Jones of it. But I must say, I am pleased with the voter turnout and so on.
Okay, nice. All right, viewers. So at this moment, we're gonna shift the spotlight over to Jisha as she gives you the news in 90 seconds.
Good morning, Tobago, and here is what's making the news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. The Elections and Boundaries Commission, EBC, has advised that the preliminary tabulation and verification of results from the Tobago House of Assembly THA elections held on Monday, January 12th, 2026 has been completed in accordance with established electoral procedures. In a media release yesterday, the EBC said of the total registered electorate of 53,289 voters across 15 electoral districts in Tobago, voter turnout was recorded at approximately 50.69%. The distribution of votes received by the political parties were the IDA, 181 votes, the People's National Movement, PNM, 10,456 votes, the TPP, Tobago People's Party, 16,240 votes, the UTP, Unity of the People, 8 votes. The total valid votes were 26,885, and the total rejected ballots were 104. The release further confirmed that based on the preliminary count, the Tobago People's Party, TPP, won all 15 electoral districts. The People's National Movement, PNM, formally requested recounts in 2 electoral districts, namely Darrell Spring Wim and Scarborough Mount Grace. The Commission emphasized that the results are preliminary and remain provisional pending the completion of the recounts and the final validation process. The People's National Movement Tobago Council has formally extended congratulations to the Tobago People's Party following their success in the recent Tobago House of Assembly elections. In a press statement dated the 13th of January 2026, the party affirmed the conclusion of the electoral process and acknowledged the democratic decision made by the people of Tobago. Respecting the election outcome, the PNM recognized the clear mandate given to the incoming administration to lead the THA. The organization emphasized that at this critical juncture, the advancement of the island must supersede political affiliations. The statement called for the Assembly's work to be driven by the collective interests of all sectors, including urban and rural communities, the youth, seniors, and the business sector. The PNM offered best wishes to the incoming Chief Secretary, the Executive Council, Assembly members, hoping for wisdom, stability, and success in their governance. The U.S. Embassy's American Citizen Services, also known as the ACS unit, has announced a visit to the island to provide essential in-person services for American citizens. This outreach aims to facilitate administrative processes as passport renewals and notary services directly on the island of Tobago. Of course, this removes the immediate need for travel to Trinidad. In addition to these services, the embassy will host a town hall meeting led by Charge d'Affaires Dr. Jennifer Neidhart de Ortiz. This event presents a significant opportunity for U.S. citizens in Tobago to engage directly with senior diplomatic leadership. The visit and town hall are scheduled to take place on Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. Citizens requiring assistance or wishing to attend the town hall are advised to prepare the necessary documentation ahead of the scheduled date. In Jamaica, police in Clarendon yesterday seized a cache of illicit items, including $5 million in cash at a house in the community of Palmetto Pen. According to reports from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, during a search, police uncovered approximately 162 pounds of ganja, uncustomed cigarettes, and bulk quantities of rum. The operation took place sometime after 2:30 p.m. The raid was part of ongoing efforts by the Clarendon Police to curb drug trafficking and other criminal activities in the parish. Community members are being urged to assist authorities by reporting suspicious activities to help maintain safety across the parish. One woman was arrested as investigations continue. Moving on to other news, the U.S. President Donald Trump has cancelled meetings with Iranian officials and urged protesters to continue demonstrating, saying, and I quote, "Help is on its way." As Iran intensifies its crackdown on nationwide unrest. A U.S.-based human rights group estimates at least 1,850 protesters have been killed in more than 2 weeks of demonstrations. Iranian authorities imposed a communications blackout, allowing limited international calls after several days, while internet access remained cut off. Iran's national security chief, Ali Larijani, condemned Trump's remarks, accusing him and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of responsibility for Iranian deaths. Israel said it remains defensively prepared but described the process as an internal Iranian issue. Iranian officials have blamed the unrest on foreign-linked terrorists and rejected the criticism of their response. These and other stories in our major newscast at 6:30 p.m. Be viewing Tobago Updates Television, and that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you so much, Jisha. Guys, that was so much information, so much we can talk about. But before we do a little banter, we have to switch over to the birthdays. Yes. Now, first on our list, we're sending out birthday greetings to Gidge Peter King. Happy birthday to you, and I hope you enjoy your day today.
And secondly, we have Miss Jamila Cooper. A happy birthday goes out to you from the Tobago Updates family, and hear from us on Youth Wednesdays.
And thirdly, we have Miss Danielle White. Happy birthday to you, Danielle. Enjoy your day today.
May I do this one, Mr. Trim?
Sure, you go right ahead.
Yes. A special happy birthday goes out to Mistress Kadisha Charles Kirk. A happy birthday goes out to you, and I hope that you send a piece of cake for me, please. Thank you very much, and enjoy your day, and happy birthday again.
And we want to say a happy birthday to Anne-Marie Elder. Happy birthday to you. We hope that you enjoy your birthday today.
And last on our list, we're sending birthday greetings to no stranger here in the Tobago space, Mr. Ansel Dennis. God's greatest blessings upon you today. And that was the birthdays. Now, guys, paying attention to the election results, it makes us wonder, what opposition politics is going to look like here on the island, because from all indications, Tobagonians would have, made it clear that the People's National Movement may not be the option for Tobagonians right now. So is it that in the future we might probably see a new party emerging, or is it that the People's National Movement will actually sit down and do an autopsy of the elections from THA to general to even the most recent recent one in 2026 to really understand why is it that, you know, the party is just not favored by Tobagonians and by at large the general public of Trinidad and Tobago. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm no political analyst, but I think that any party who loses an election must do an analysis of that election, because as a party, you must pinpoint the areas that you may have fallen short in. You must work on the areas that you think needs improvement, because if you want to be a formidable party or a party that's favorable again to an electorate, you must do an analysis. So I think any party, not just the People's National Movement, even the IDA and other parties must sit down, go back to the drawing board and see where they can improve on if they want to be favorable to the electorate in any election coming up.
I like to look at the statistics, and even the unspoken and the unwritten statistics shows a downward spiral of the PNM since 2021, since the January 2021 elections, where they had the 6-6 tie. They lost considerable grounds to the PDP, where it was 6 apiece. Then in December 6 of that same year, they lost 14-1. Right, and we move all the way to the general elections, where they would have lost the 2 seats to the TPP again for the general elections, and now this. Right, I think that if the question needs to be asked, is the PNM giving its best in terms of its offerings when it comes to these elections? And if they're giving their best, then something is amiss. And they must pull their heads and their resources together and really and truly do their autopsy and see whether or not the party is still relevant on the island, or have they meet their cap, what. But that is for them to work out. But I am just saying, based on the statistics and the observations coming from the last couple of years to now. Those are my thoughts, yeah.
Okay, lovely perspectives. Now, guys, we can't sit down here and talk all morning because we have so many lovely guests to bring on the show. Dwayne, can you give our viewers the rundown, please, so they can just have an idea of what this morning's show and all these segments are going to look like?
All right, this morning we don't have a rundown, but we have a run, because we have one person coming to discuss with us this morning, which is the chair lady of the Tobago's People's Party, Miss Anna Tasashek II, sorry. Bit of tongue twister there. She will be coming to discuss with us possibly all that happened during the election and the election results and the way forward for the new administration won by the Tobago's People's Party. And I'm certain that my guests here have a lot of questions. I know Tobago on a whole have a lot of questions to ask, so we're going to get into that this morning, and we'll be sharing. So we're going to take a quick break, and we have to tell them to do what, Luke?
Share the live, share the live, share the live.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and the service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to you. This morning, Jasia and I will be continuing or beginning the interview this morning. This is not Miss Anne Natasha II. We are here to discuss another election. So it's election after election, and this morning we'll be discussing with Mr. Steve Peterkin, a member of the Tobago District of Tutor, which is the Trinidad and Tobago
Unified
Teachers Association. Thank you so much. About their upcoming elections and his participation in these elections. Good morning and welcome to you, Mr. Peterkin.
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. Thank you for having me here this morning.
All right, I look at your colors this morning and say, well, it's really elections in true, boy.
Actually, these colors are about pay, not politics.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you're all about the dust.
Yeah.
All about the dust, we understand.
This is a direct response to teachers and their negotiated salaries, and those salaries not being forwarded to teachers.
But before we get into all of that,
sure, no problem.
Just tell us who you are, what is your role in Tutor, and just shed some light as pertaining to the upcoming date and so on of these elections.
Okay, so I am Steve Peterkin. I'm a long-standing member of the Tobago District and the Tobago District Executive. I've worked since 2011 in the Tobago District, working with the different Tobago officers. I'm not sure if you remember, but Mr. Orlando Kerr, who recently won his seat, congratulations to him, was a Tutor Tobago officer, and I worked well with him back then from 2014 going forward. Mr. Braden Roberts is now the Tutor Tobago officer, and his term would come to an end at the end of January. And he would not be going back for that position. So on January 20th, we are going to have the Tutor Tobago officer. I am one of the candidates, and vying for this position, it wasn't an easy decision. But when we look at the climate that is going around now, you know, years back, one politician said that teachers are criminals. And for me, I thought that was the worst time in education. That is a horrible statement to make about the people that shape the future of a nation. But when I look at the climate now, coming out of COVID, where tutor would have had a court injunction so that they would not be able to take industrial action for their salaries and negotiations, where trade unions are being put into court to settle negotiations, where agreed upon terms and conditions are infringed by way of a memorandum just sent out and say, you know, we're changing this. And when we look at the climate now, it's a very hostile climate. And for me, I think this is a time where we need someone to stand up to these organizations. You know, these organizations and teachers, our third schedule members as well, are governed by regulations. And those regulations speak not only to teachers, but they speak to these bodies and what they should be doing. And most of the issues that we're facing is because these bodies are not fulfilling their end of the bargain. As the next Tutor Tobago officer, I intend to hold these bodies accountable by using, and I want people to hear this, the full extent of the law. The full extent of the law. It means our regulations, our time frames, and if necessary, we take it straight to court.
Thank you so much for that insight. You sound very, very passionate, Mr. Peterkin.
I am.
And you said as your next Tutor Tobago officer, so is it that you are vying for that position in the upcoming election?
Yes.
You are. And why should teachers vote for you? If teachers are listening to the program this morning and they are hearing you, why should teachers vote for you?
Now, I have a wealth of experience. But if that is the only reason that you want to vote for me, I would say choose the other candidate. I am also knowledgeable. But I will tell you something. If that's the only reason you want to vote for me, I would say choose the other candidate. The real reason is the motivation behind this. I would tell you something. I met with the other candidate. And the reason that I met with them is to make sure that the fight was there.
Right.
Teachers need support and teachers need strong representation at this time. Teachers spend all their time in work and outside of work, preparing for lessons, preparing to deliver curriculum, planning stuff. And while they're doing that, they need someone defending them against the issues that would arise. Now, as a tutor member and as a member of the executive, I've seen teachers. I've seen teachers get angry. I've seen teachers cry. I've seen teachers get hurt by the system. And when I say hurt by the system, I mean teachers that are acting in positions for years without any change in salary. Teachers that are working on contracts for years that have never seen their contracts. Their lives are stagnated. They cannot simply go to the bank and even get a credit card because of these ill justice that have been, brought down on them. And for me, the time has come to stand toe to toe with these institutions and demand that you respect teachers as education professionals, that you respect our third schedule members as education professionals. It is time that someone take the fight to these institutions. And once you do that, it would change the status quo, the culture of education. It would change how they view the union and teachers. And going forward, we could see that respect rebuilding. Have you ever heard the song, Teacher Percy say, if you tell a lie, you go to hell as soon as you're done?
Of course.
To me, that encapsulates so much respect for teachers. It's not Pastor Percy. It's not Minister Percy. It is teacher. So at that point, we realize how much respect the village, the community had for teachers. What's going on now? We need to rebuild that respect. We need to have these institutions know that as an organization, tutor would stand and defend its teachers against all the ills that are plaguing the education system right now.
My question to you is, based on, your experience, right? I want to ask you, what was your contribution as a member, that gave you the impetus to contest these elections and propose yourself to vie for the office or for the position of office Tobago officer?
Yeah,
right.
Tobago officer.
What are those things?
That's a very, very good question. You see, because tutor has a structure, and the structure is staff representatives at the school, and then you have the district executive, including chairman, a vice chairman, a district field officer, and then we go up to Tobago officer. Nationally, we have industrial relation officers. And for me, I have worked as a staff rep at my school from 2011 to now, right? I've continued to serve my teachers in my school. I've also served as the DFO of the district. DFO means the district field officer.
Papayo.
Right? I've also been the vice chairman of the district at one point in time.
So it means you wore many hats. Wore many hats in terms of representing the teachers, especially in Tobago. My other question to you is, the spirit of teachers on the island, specifically on the island, do you think it needs bolstering? And do you attribute the bolstering solely on the current teacher's salary? If not, then what else?
I like Tobago Channel 5 give this guy, not Channel 5, Tobago Updates, give this guy a raise. This guy is doing an awesome job. And that question is so pertinent because I would tell you, it's not just the salary, It's not just the salary. Teachers face, for me, in my campaigning, I've broken the issues into two categories. The categories are systemic. So normally there are things that are supposed to happen from the Division of Education, Teaching Service Commission, and they're not happening. If I'm here and I'm working after a year, I'm supposed to get my increment and move up to another position. If a vacancy opens, I'm in the position here, I'm supposed to be able to be upgraded. I'm supposed to apply for the position and get through. Sometimes people are put into positions and are not paid for the positions. Sometimes people are waiting for years and cannot either get into any permanent positions or cannot even see their regular upgrade, that's increments and stuff. The second category is the culture and the climate of the workspace. Teachers are facing so many hardships in their schools with different pressures that it weighs on them heavily, mentally, emotionally. And when I say emotionally, teachers are not just teaching a subject. They encounter small human beings that have issues. And most times those issues are placed on teachers and teachers have to help them work through these issues. That takes a toll on teachers. And the morale of teachers, I know that it was low. What I didn't know is how low it was. Going around to schools, some teachers would tell me things like, sir, it doesn't matter who you vote for, nothing would change. Some teachers would say, one teacher told me yesterday, I don't want to talk to tutor. I said, well, talk to me. I am Steve Peterkin. Talk to me. And I want to tell teachers, I want to look teachers right there, and I want to tell you, don't give up hope. Don't ever give up hope. And if you are in your situation, in your school, in your workplace, and realize that the environment is not conducive to you being the best teacher that you could be, then it's time for you to take a stand. And I encourage you to stand with Peterkin. Stand with Peterkin, and let's start rebuilding. Rebuilding the respect that teachers once had, rebuilding strong communication, and rebuilding the strength of our union and our profession. Don't give up hope.
Wow.
Yes, thank you so much for encouraging our teachers. But you said something. You said you did not realize how low the morale of teachers are.
Yeah.
And of course, being a teacher is a very important job in this society. So if you are the elected Tobago officer, how do you plan to boost the morale of teachers in Tobago?
Great question. So beside, like I said, the systemic issues and dealing with it from the regulations and the law, as a Tobago officer, I intend to be more present in schools. That builds the support that teachers can see the Tobago officer working and see the Tobago officer in their environment, because the position carries a certain weight. Also, tutor has a wealth of knowledge, programs and stuff that they run, and sometimes it's difficult for teachers to go to these programs. As the next Tobago officer, I intend to design smaller programs that we would take to the schools so that teachers are supported in their regulations and rules and what to do when things go wrong, but more so supported in terms of mental health workshops, in terms of emotional stability workshops, giving them support right there in their schools. Because sometimes it's not that you don't know you need help, you don't know how to ask for help.
So I know we have but a short time and we want to wrap up quickly, but my last question to you is, based on the information, based on the current status of tutor, oh gosh, my question to you is, based on the current position, given that most of the power reside in Trinidad, how would you use your office once elected to advocate for the Service Commission to have an office here in Tobago and to confer further powers to either the THA and the Service Commission in Tobago as a separate entity to deal specifically with the Tobago matters?
Correct. And I had a meeting with, and listen to the name, Mr. Charles, about that very issue. When was Mr. Charles the Secretary for Education? That's how long that issue has been standing. And that requires political will. And as the Tobago officer, I intend to push on politicians to do right by our teachers, not just in Tobago, but nationally as well. And I know the climate coming out after election is going to be to do as much for Tobagonians. And I am going to ride that wave to ensure that the Tobagonians that are done well are the teachers. Ensure that the teachers are getting the benefits of this situation. So, and as Tobago officer as well, we are part of the national executive. So once we are in the conversation, we can make sure that our teachers are well taken care of. All right?
Thank you so much, Mr. Steve Peterkin, for taking the opportunity to speak to us today. Of course, we have an exciting show still lined up for you. We have Miss Anne Natasha II, who would be on next. So don't touch that dial, don't shift. We are right here on Tobago Updates. And of course, as we usually say, share the live, share the live, share the live.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, buljoil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meats served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy, for queens who know exactly what they want.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
We are here at the Mount St. George Methodist Primary School, where the voters are out in their numbers to cast their votes for the candidates of their choice. Here we have the police officer, the presiding officer who is in charge of the station, the green and red line clerks, the deputy presiding officer who will show them the voting process, the voting booth, the ballot box clerk, and polling agents. They seem to have everything under control at this center. Caleb, Just please put hands. Okay, you can vote for any kind of team you want to vote for by placing an X inside one of the consecutive boxes. This is how you fold the ballots. Place yourself inside the basket and make your way to vote. Now sit down. Let's talk to some of the voters. I cast my vote for candidate Muslim. Hey, this was 6 o'clock. See that?
Yeah man, this process was smooth. Now I could go home farm for some eggs.
I am Makeda Grant, reporting for Channel 7 MSG News.
Alright viewers, now that video that you just saw came from the beautiful village I call my home, Mount St. George, Tobago. What we would have observed were the students from the Mount St. George Methodist Primary School engaging in their own version of the democratic process. Jaisha, wasn't that video just so wholesome?
Of course. You know, seeing kids so involved,
Yes.
I mean, I think that gives us hope for our youth voters in the future.
Correct. That was so wholesome. Now, Jaisha, can you please introduce our next guest this morning?
So at Tobago, we have Mr. Rodriguez, and he is also vying for the position of Tutor Tobago Officer. So welcome, Mr. Rodriguez.
Welcome. Thank you for having me on Tobago Updates. And I say a pleasant good morning to the teaching population within Tobago and by extension Trinidad and Tobago and the viewing public both locally, regionally and internationally. A pleasant good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
So, Mr. Rodriguez, tell us a bit about yourself because you are vying for a position as the Tutor Tobago Officer and persons may not know who you are. So tell us a bit about yourself and tell us why you should be elected.
All right, thank you very much for that opportunity this morning. So my name is Dion Rodriguez, as indicated. I've been a teacher for the last 28 years, spanning both the primary and the secondary school. At presently, I teach at Signal Hill Secondary School where I teach mathematics. Now, Mr. Rodriguez has been an individual that will have served all his life. I had extensive service within the church environment, and about 2016 thereabout, through Mr. Orlando Cole, who was the then Tobago officer, I started getting involved in tutor. And since then, I have been in tutor doing a number of things. I've served as the chairman, I've served as the vice chairman, I've served as a floor member, I've served on the Conference of Delegates, the General Council, the Central Executive. In July of 2022, I was a delegate to the Caribbean Union of Teachers in the executive meeting there. Presently, I'm a study circle convener. Additionally, on the standing committees, I serve on the Secondary Ed Committee. I was the former chairman of the Secondary Ed Committee. So I've served extensively in tutor, and as a result, I decided to take my service to the nether level, which is the Tobago officer.
Okay, excellent, Mr. Rodriguez. From your perspective, what are some of the issues you think are plaguing the teachers of Tobago? And if you are elected, how do you plan to remedy those issues?
All right, I don't know if most of the teachers would have seen my introductory videos, but there are a number of issues that plague the Tobago space. One, we have contract teachers. Secondly, we have leave classification, and that needs to be addressed and addressed with a level of forcefulness. The third one, we have appointments, both permanent appointments, acting appointments, temporary appointments. We have the third schedule issues that is a burning issue right now. There's the USC and UTT matters, and there are a host of matters that are faced in teachers. But those are some of the major issues that are faced in teachers. And the burning one that is taking place right now, in April of 2025, tutor would have signed an agreement for salary negotiation, which should have been implemented already. And it was the expectations of teachers that at the end of January, that adjustment in their salary, they would have seen it. And sadly to say that we are hearing at present that that would not be the case. So there are a host of situations that teachers in the Tobago space face.
All right, so you just mentioned the salary negotiations, right? And as you said, it seems as though they would not come into fruition. So if you are the next tutor officer for Tobago, what can you do to ensure that Tobago teachers receive their salary upgrades or?
All right, so let me first put it into perspective. After an agreement have been signed between the union, which is a recognized majority union, and the CPO office, that must go to cabinet for ratification. It must go to cabinet for approval. My understanding, based on a general council meeting that we had last Saturday, is that the document, as promised, as you would have seen in the media, that cabinet note went to the cabinet, but it was returned to the CPO office. So it is not a situation where Tobago can do anything outside of that being ratified and the instruction being given to pay teachers. Once instructions is given to pay teachers, then Tobago is going to benefit from that. But it's not that Tobago can do something. But as the next Tobago officer, I'm going to join with my comrades in Tobago, the national officers, and we are going to advocate strongly to ensure that the teachers receive their just due.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez, if for our listening public and by extent the voting population who will have to, elect either you or your candidate, if we were to ask you what are some of the reasons we should elect you as the next tutor president, what would those reasons be?
All right, so one of the main things, one of the slogans that I was using is committed to service and dedicated to you. If you know Mr. Rodriguez, and I think that the teachers in the Tobago space know Mr. Rodriguez very well, I would have served as vice chairman for 3.5 years because the then chairman would have resigned before completing her term. And I would have served, I think, with distinction. Mr. Rodriguez would be the person that you see first on the scene, and Mr. Rodriguez would be the person that you see last on the scene. I can recall last year after the negotiations, there was a town hall meeting that was called at Signal Hill Secondary School, where the then President, Mr. Lumpkin, would have come, and who you would have seen packing out the chairs would have been Mr. Rodriguez. So much so that some of my colleagues felt at that point in time that I should not have been doing that, because at the end of the exercise, I was sweaty and maybe not representing them as I ought to. But rest assured that Mr. Rodriguez is a man of service, he's a man of his word, and he's dedicated to those to whom he serves.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Mr. Rodriguez. So there are allegations that the morale of teachers on the island of Tobago is low. If you are the elected Tobago officer, what can you do to boost the morale of teachers on the island?
All right, I'm sorry I didn't have the opportunity to share, but I've been going around and sharing my team. My team is preserving your future by securing the present. And the things that tutor do at present is going to ensure that the future of our teachers are secured. But my third pillar, and I built it out on 4 pillars, the third pillar has to do with aiding in diffusing strained working relationships. And what that speaks to is that sometimes in schools' environments are toxic. 1, 2 persons are not receiving their just due. So in that built out, I had 4 basic things that I pledged to do. Now, the Tobago officer is really an advocate for the teachers in Tobago, both an advocate to the national officers, because in the Constitution, it speaks that the Tobago officer acts in Tobago in the same manner that the national officers act in the Trinidad and Tobago space. So the Tobago officer is really twofold. He's really an agent of the national officers advocating on behalf of Tobago, but as well advocating on the teachers in the space of Tobago. But with that said, that pillar, I just a number of things. 1, through the office of the first vice president, encouraging in this space workshops. Now, tutor has workshops. The main workshop is preparation for promotion. But additionally, I think that things like emotional intelligence, things like peer counseling, things that is going to boost the teacher's morale, mental health, etc. Those are things that are going to happen in this space. Additionally, to encourage teachers and to strengthen teachers, as I indicated earlier, I'm a study circle convener. And what study circle is, it's really an avenue and an opportunity to develop. It's really an opportunity to build the teachers. So what we do in Study Circle, we present scenarios, we present situations, and we allow the teachers, based on the acts, the code of ethics, the code of conduct, have discussion around those things. And most of all, if we're going to boost teacher morale, then as a union, we must move with confidence and we must move with forcefulness. So as the next Tobago officer, it's my intention to not only talk, but demonstrate through actions. And there are several times the teachers at Signal Hill Secondary School can tell you that Mr. Rodriguez was an individual that moved with forcefulness, that moved with confidence and action. You can recall the picket at the school in November of 2018 when we didn't have a lab. I was the staff rep at that time, and along with Mr. Orlando Kern, his direction, along with the parents building community support, we would have had a picket action outside of the school. So if we're going to build morale, yes, we need to have those workshops and so on, but much more than that, we must advocate and advocate strongly and work to ensure that the problems and the challenges that our teachers face in the Tobago space is really addressed and addressed in a serious way.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Rodriguez, for joining us this morning. Best wishes to you in your election and campaign season. Viewers, that was Mr. Rodriguez vying for the position of Twitter president. Now we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. No breaks. We will not be right back with the show. So what's going to happen, I'm going to have to do the honors of closing the show this morning. So viewers, I just want to thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for always choosing Tobago Updates, you know, just to start your morning off right on a nice vibe, a nice tone. We really appreciate the love and support. As we make our departure, Dresha, what we have to tell them to do what?
Share the live, share the live, share the live.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
So Amari reached out to me, said, Mommy, I feel I'm ready to arrange. I said, arrange what?
They're less than 1 year old, but Uptown Fascinators Junior Steel Orchestra isn't bothered by that. They have taken the brave step into the National Junior Panorama for the first time.
Top to bottom, tell me what they get. Who are you going? The recap. Well, I always wanted to be an arranger and I just never had the opportunity. And when Mommy came up with the idea that we could make a junior side from Uptown, I was like, yeah, we could do that. But I wasn't sure if we'd have enough players, and from when we started till now, it's been a big jump in players. So I've been excited and I like the challenge.
So girls, you're getting ready for the National Junior Panorama. Tell me, what's the vibes? What are you feeling?
I'm feeling excited because it's my first Junior Panorama, and I hope that I will get a nice experience outside. So far, it's going good.
I am also excited because this is my first panorama in general, so I'm really now getting to experience it. So far, I love the experience. I love my double second pan, and the music's sweet. So
Pan is a beautiful sounding instrument. I would love to play it at any time, even at home, anywhere, anytime.
I would love to play the preliminary rounds. I'm very confident. I am happy that it's coming up. I love how it's competitive. I love to be competitive. Junior Panorama, it's very exciting.
He had 2 songs that he had scored early up in the year, one for school and one because he just felt like scoring it. Because he started scoring like 2 years now. He would play it for us at home. He would say, nah, change that, add something else.
put in this, take out that, put in this. So he was tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until we come out. We call the parents that we know interested in PAN, because a lot of parents used to reach out to us about getting their children involved in the CPAN because they know our children are involved. When it comes to the manager, I'm not mommy. I'm just the manager. Mommy home, manager here, and they understand that. So when it's time for practice, we get serious, I let them know up front, this is what we expect and this is the outcome that we want to get, and automatically they get it.
I grew up in PAN. Everybody in my family could play PAN, so I had no choice in a way. But I didn't really fight it because I love playing PAN, I love music on a whole, and I just enjoy the vibes from the bands I've been with, played with, and yeah, I believe PAN is a big part in my life and music too. I hope that we could go and wow the judges with our wonderful and amazing performance, and hopefully the judges can be like, wow, this is a nice, amazing song, and hopefully we make it to Trinidad and we could be able to win the competition.
Just spell ways like this is your profession. I go wait till you want my confession.
You're viewing Tobago Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
It's a brand new morning, rise
welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix. And guys, you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have where I ask those questions that you want asked. This morning, we jump straight on ahead into our conversation, and we are chatting with the chairman of the Tobago People's Party, Miss Natasha Second. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Chanel. Good morning, Tobago. It's always a pleasure to be here at Tobago Updates.
It's a pleasure to have you as well. I mean, your party has just secured a historic victory. Tell us about what the feeling or the air is like at the Tobago People's Party headquarters or among party members.
But we are all very excited, very happy, very grateful to God. We have reaped the reward of our very hard work. It was very intense. The canvassers, the drivers, the voting population, and the leaders all worked together day and night, non-stop. Sometimes we had 2 meetings per night in different villages. And, you know, we're just very grateful for this victory. We thank Tobago, and we're ready for the adventure ahead.
What would a second term in office look like compared to a first term for this administration in your view?
Well, there's significantly more experience under the belt of those who will take on the mantle of secretary and assistant secretary to lead the government. And there would also be that level of experience to serve on boards as CEOs of companies and so on. We also would have had the opportunity to work with persons in divisions, and we know what the policies are going forward for every division. We have a blueprint to guide us in terms of the pathway, the mechanisms that we're going to use to achieve the goals that we want to achieve. So we are going to hit the ground running in every division. The party itself is going to use the opportunity to expand and to really drill down in how our members participate in the governance process, particularly since there is no formal opposition. So a strong party with strong systems and a strong structure will help to balance the governance and to ensure that there is fairness, there is equity, and there's good democracy in the island of Tobago.
Okay, I like the fact that you touched on that, because that's a question that many persons are having right now in Tobago and just looking on. With a 15-0 victory, who is going to be able to hold this administration to account, and what mechanisms would be put in place to drive that level of continuous dialogue and transparency? Tell us about some of the systems that you're talking about as it pertains to the Chief Secretary hinted to having public consultation and public input on policy and what is being debated at the Assembly Legislature. Can you speak to that as yet?
So consultation is going to be key. It's going to be paramount. Ensuring that the people understand all of the elements of the blueprint will require consultation, but will require a lot of educational programs and seminars and so on. So there'll be a lot of reaching out, a lot of marketing of the ideas. So we're going to be in the media constantly. We're going to be on the ground. We have to draw in the population that is on the block, that the fisher folk, the agriculture people, everyone, differently abled, the elderly, men, women. So we have to have constant communication. The first thing is everyone has to understand the blueprint and see where you fit into it. Civics, having a sense of responsibility and courage and confidence. We will need civil society to be very involved in our processes. We're going to need people to be courageous. You're going to have to say, if you believe that some component of a policy will be detrimental to any particular group, you're going to have to give feedback. So all of Tobago is at a very good, strong position. It's a bit of a crossroads, because if we don't stand up, if persons don't say, well, we disagree with this particular thing, and allow those who have the absolute power to do it anyway, then it can be detrimental to the society. So we're going to need all of Tobago to benefit from the education that we've been providing and to stand up, speak out, and participate. We need everybody to participate.
But there were upwards, a little bit over 10,000 persons who voted for the People's National Movement. How will these voices also be integrated into the development process moving forward? And specifically, even the young persons who participated in the democratic process as candidates, how would they and their ideas and their vision for a future of Tobago be integrated in where this administration sees itself going, although they may have been on the opposite side?
Well, each political movement is responsible for providing a platform for their youth and for their members to grow and develop. 10,000 is a good foundation to start. So I imagine that they're going to be reorganizing and they're going to be strategizing and they're going to ensure that all the nice little bright minds get to participate. That's the responsibility of the organization. But the opportunity will be made available through the THA systems. The consultations will be public. The invitations to conferences and so on will be public. So once you're organized, whether you're a village council, a political organization, a church, an NGO, a school, or just individuals, you will have the opportunity. Everything will be very well advertised to participate and to make your voice heard.
Right. On the campaign trail, we heard the People's National Movement talking a lot about culture of vindictive politics and wanting to create a system where all persons were welcome. How can persons who have supported the People's National Movement, although they lost a 15-1 defeat, feel comfortable still being included, still being employed, and still receiving opportunities within the Tobago House of Assembly?
Well, there are legal structures that protect persons in the system from victimization. We have legitimate policy structures, we have legitimate, principles of law and practices. You have leadership primarily being done by the secretary, but management primarily been done by the administrator, and the administrator and the team of leaders in the division, the heads of departments and so on, would secure with their internal mechanisms persons, democratic right to participate and to do their job. So the public servants can rest assured that they can just go about their business, come to work early, do their job well, and excel, use the opportunities to advance and so on. So our political organization, like no political organization, has the authority to victimize people really without some sort of legal consequence. So people can rest assured and they can participate. Tobago has had a number of elections in a short space of time. We also went through that COVID period, and now we have a 4-year period without any elections. So we haven't had time to heal properly. I would suggest that we use this period as a period of amnesty, the next few years, and we all just relax. Tobago is we, do your job, participate, interact, go to harvest, and enjoy the next 4 years. There is no reason for the constant hostility that would come through the battle, the intense battle of an election. So at this point in time, we all embrace the pathway that is presented by the blueprint. We interact with each other in our job space, in our recreational spaces, and we thrive as an island.
Understood. As it pertains to the way forward, we know that there's a swearing-in ceremony that should take place tomorrow. And what is the way forward for the Tobago People's Party?
Right. So in the same way that the Tobago House of Assembly will go on the retreats and so on to make sure that everybody is ready to roll out the pathway, the party itself will have to have several levels of retreat so that we have synergy between the party and the governance, and to be able to help persons on the ground, to be able to, manage both aspects. So our young people, we're going to be calling them to ensure that they are able to participate because they have all of the knowledge necessary and they know how they can be integrated in the party itself and the party's activities. So we're going to look to them to lead certain areas. Some of our fundraising activities or Thanksgiving services or Family Day and unification activities, because remember, our party is made up of persons who come from all walks of life. They come from different political organizations, some are new, some have been there for a long time. So we will need everybody to come together and to understand all of the possible opportunities for them. So we're going to have a retreat for the young persons, we're going to have retreat for the women, retreat for the men, etc. So the first call to action will be that bringing together of the minds so that we can work together to ensure that everybody understands the blueprint, the way forward, and that there is complete synergy between the party's executive and the party proper and those who will be running government.
In his victory speech, the Chief Secretary spoke about being gracious in victory. And we saw a lot of heightened tension even the day before election, you know, on social media, and we saw even physical violence being perpetuated among the opposing parties. What is being done at the party level to ensure that your party remains gracious even after victory?
That is about leadership, right? We have a political leader who has that vision to unite persons. Competent and willing was the initial idea. We have a chairman by his side who is able to help to bring that sort of balance. All of the leaders of our different arms, women's arm, men's arm, youth arm, etc., we action groups, we have the responsibility to marshal the troops, just as we were able to do so, to organize ourselves into a wonderful election machinery, order, discipline, the values that are entrenched in our constitution. That is what is going to help us to maintain control, to avoid any incidents beyond today that could be construed as hostile or aggressive against those who did not support us in the election, because it is a democracy. Overall, it was a good, peaceful election, like most of the elections in the Caribbean. So we're not too badly off. We did have that incident, and maybe we had some that, you know, didn't make the media. And that will always happen because individuals get very passionate. So we just have to control how people behave. And how people behave will be controlled by us reinforcing all levels of discipline, respect, organizational leadership, manners, and how we behave towards each other.
Okay. What about the victory? What does the victory celebration look like? On Sunday, we saw a huge demonstration of a motorcade going through Tobago. I came outside and I saw it myself, and I was astonished on the magnitude of that motorcade. And that was just pre-election. So what is happening post-election? Is there going to be a victory-cade? Can Tobago sustain the magnitude of a possible victory-cade?
Yes, because we celebrate in different ways. If you paid attention to our campaign, we always began with some sort of thanksgiving, some sort of reverence into God. So we're going to have both elements. We're going to have a thanksgiving kind of opportunity for persons to just render thanks to our God, and there will be elements of a victory-cade where we organize in the same way, and we go around the island and say thank you to people. Everybody was waiting on the side of the road to encourage us and to participate. You know, it was very encouraging, very fun. So we're going to have that.
Okay. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with much more conversation right after this. So, see you soon.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. We have been chatting with the chairman of the Tobago People's Party who came out victorious in the 2026 election, THA election that is. We've been chatting with the chairman of the party and Natasha Second. Welcome back. So you told us what's next for the party in terms of your retreats and possible victory cades, Thanksgivings. What can the public do to get engaged with the party if people so desire?
Yes, so there's so much room in our party for everyone in Tobago to become involved. You can be a member from age 15. You can go on our page and you can sign up our virtual forms, or you can visit us at the Port Mall. We're on the 3rd floor at the Port Mall at our headquarters, and you can become a member. You can also be a supporter without becoming a member, so that you can understand what kinds of activities we have. We have a women's council that you can be part of, youth council, men's council. We have a welfare committee, and we have a number of things planned. We want to take a number of our members to the Tobago Day celebrations this year, and we have our Sports and Family Day to look forward to, and a number of different opportunities will be made available. So everyone is welcome. Go online, look at our social media pages and find out about us and come aboard.
Understood. And is there anything that you want to say finally to the people of Tobago as we wrap up our conversation this morning?
Yes. I want to thank Tobagonians for taking the time to listen to us, to follow us through our campaign. Everyone who has supported, everyone who has offered us constructive criticism as well. We welcome your input. We welcome your critique, your comments, your support. I'm thanking you also for trusting us with every single seat in the THA election. And we are going to do our very best to ensure that we live up to your expectations and that we are able to engage you in a very democratic, transparent, and healthy manner. So we look forward to serving you for the next 4 years.
Understood. Well, we want to thank you so much for being here this morning. And again, congratulations to you and to your party on that 2026 THA election victory. Guys, we're going to take an extremely short break, right? And we'll be back with much more conversation. Next, we're chatting with former Assemblyman Terrence Baines.
The following is a paid...
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the skies. I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong and the vibes is never wrong.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. We are chatting virtually with Assemblyman Terrence Baines. Good morning and welcome.
A pleasant morning to you. Pleasant morning to the viewers. I hope you're hearing me well.
Yes, I am hearing you well. Well, you have served the people of Bethel New Grange during your current tenure, which comes to an end tomorrow, I am guessing. Mm-hmm. And you have been able to witness, just like us here in the rest of Tobago, that victory, that historic victory that your party secured on Monday. What are the feelings like in your district, and what are the people saying? What are the people feeling at this time?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, you can appreciate the euphoria that would be present, I suspect, for the rest of the week. And for those who like the extreme may go on for the rest of the month, you know. And persons will really appreciate the victory when one considers the campaign that has passed and so on, and all of that, the work that people put in and so on. I am sure that people feel vindicated and all of that. So all around, I can imagine that there's jubilation, but I think that we have to find a way to temper that with the seriousness of the responsibility that will now be laid at our charge, and the demand that would be also laid upon us now with this overwhelming mandate that has been afforded us as an organization.
Will we see you still in the forefront of any type of active politics, or would you be taking a back seat?
This is I really have no proper answer for you where that is concerned. As you can appreciate, whoever serves in the executive, is those things fall under the purview of the chief secretary and so on. Me personally, I am in a kind of transition place, so to speak, looking at perhaps whether I have outlived my usefulness or my shelf life has expired. Those are things that conversations you have to have with yourself. But I'm not there yet. You know, I feel I have made a contribution to where we are, and I feel good about that. I also feel very privileged. I think that is the thing I should have said first. That very privileged to be afforded the opportunity to serve in that capacity. When you check in the average jurisdiction, not many people get this opportunity. And so I am thankful for that. As it relates to what role I may play, if any, going forward, that will be dependent, I am sure, on the conversations had with the chief secretary and where I am with my own self, I guess. When those two come together, a decision will be made, I am sure.
But we've heard the chief secretary saying previously publicly that there would be room for some of those persons who served previously to be integrated into the governance system or even within management systems moving forward. Are you willing to continue serving in any capacity if so required?
Well, I mean, like I said, I mean, there is a conversation that is to be had with the chief secretary and myself, and I suspect the others as well. And I guess it would be kind of difficult. The willingness to serve is always there. That is a given. But, you know, I want to be, as you can appreciate, I'm very measured in my response because, you know, I want to be cautious. But suffice it to say that if an opportunity arises for me to serve and it is within my capacity so to do, I am sure that I would do my best to do whatever I can.
Understood. With the overwhelming victory, were you expecting that type of response from Tobagonians? And what do you think prompted such a victory?
Well, I think the population, the voting population, are more and more informed now, and I don't think people give enough credit to the voters, although they are not always on a stage saying that. There are some people that are very vocal, but the percentage of the ones that are on the stage is always much smaller than those who are actually going to converge on polling stations on the day of the election and cast their vote. I think the population is satisfied that there is still enough currency in the administration, though there have been some areas that we did not do so well in terms of our marks and so on. But as we see in election cycles, the voting population make their own assessment, and on the day they deliver a verdict for or against, you understand? And it must mean that the people of Tobago in large part have confidence in the TPP and confidence in the administration, and some of the things that we were able to accomplish in the past 4 years stood out, and they have decided to hire us for another season so that we can improve on the things that we have been doing, that we can correct those areas where we have been deficient, and so on, and provide an environment for the entire island of Tobago to benefit. I think that is the, if I was to make an assessment of all that has happened, that may be the message being sent by the voting public of Tobago.
Understood. And as it pertains to that accountability factor whereby there isn't a minority in the House, what are some of your recommendations, or what would you like to see as it pertains to holding that balance between implementing policy and public input and democracy?
Yeah, you know, a lot of these things have to do with individuals and understanding their individual response. You know, it's difficult to police somebody. That is why I suspect that you have rules. You know, the law always is for the lawless. And I think that we have to inculcate in our minds as leaders and people are in position of responsibility. There are certain parameters under which we operate. And when you talk about public life, matters like accountability and transparency are always matters at the forefront. And so I believe that once individuals understand that, the various secretaries, assistant secretaries, or whatever, once that is understood, because you cannot police anybody 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Once you understand that, you will go out and do your work from that point of reference, and I believe that we will have a better governance architecture enacted and so on, and I believe that we will continue to move more efficiently to this greatest little island that we're talking about, which has to begin with the greatest executive as well.
Right, and the Chief Secretary spoke about being graceful in victory. What are your recommendations for persons who are in that celebratory mood? How do they still remain graceful even towards their up?
Yeah. Now the thing is, that is something, and I mean, I agree with the Chief Secretary, and I think most of us understand that, you know, because we all have conceded that the minds and the skill sets that are required to bring Tobago to where we want to get to does not reside solely in the TPP camp. I think all of us can agree that the TPP is not the repository of all knowledge and all skills and so on. So we have to be all embracing, because this governance challenge is for an entire island and people of various persuasions and so on. So I think from that standpoint, graciousness has to be a matter of importance, and engaging persons who have various skills and abilities that can contribute to the whole has to be a matter that is at the forefront of our minds as well. In the various divisions that the officials have to preside over, those divisions are people of various political persuasions and various sensitivities and so on. The challenge would always be to be able to be gracious and to present a type of leadership that encompasses everybody. You know, and you treat people as the professionals as they are, that they should be, you know, so that we can get the best from everybody, and cohesively we can have the kind of result and the kind of design that will benefit the entire Tobago, and goods and services will be provided for all our people.
Understood. Even as it pertains to collaboration with some of the ideas that were brought forth from the opposing party, you know, what are some of your recommendations in terms of still embracing the 10,000 persons who did vote opposing the TPP and integrating the society to one where everyone feels comfortable to contribute to Tobago's forward development?
Right. Well, I think we are maturing to the place where a good idea is a good idea. It doesn't matter where it comes from. You understand? I mean, the fact that we have seen persons who may have been coming from whether it be the PNN camp or other camps and so on, and integrated, afforded an opportunity for them to be a part of what is happening in the present TPP organization and so on, suggests to me that any idea, regardless of where it comes from, once the idea is of benefit to the whole, the idea is of benefit to the island, it is of benefit to the philosophy of building a Tobago that is second to none, where every single person can feel a part of what we're doing. Any philosophy, any idea, any principle or principles, any amount of principles that will help us to get there regardless of where it comes from. I think that those are things that will be considered, in my humble view.
Where do you think Tobago is going with this new TPP administration?
Yeah, I was particularly enthused with the tagline when the chief secretary started that and so on. And as I began to, you know, in my role and my short tour of duty in the government and so on, I embraced the whole thing because I've always lamented that Tobago and Tobagonians should have been further advanced, you know, when we look at the timelines and so on, and the kind of resource that may have been available to us that have passed through and so on. I find that we were still deficient and in need of basic things. I find that we still, you know, have to travel to Trinidad for stuff that should be happening here. I find the transportation issue and so on, health and general service provision, those things, and the development of the island, when one considers the beauty of Tobago and considers the human resource that Tobago has provided and produced rather over the years, that we should have been further advanced, further developed, and so on. And so this idea of building this greatest little island, it is a philosophical message, but profound as well, because it speaks to you having an appreciation and being comfortable, first of all, in the castle of your skin, you know, and then in the environment in which you find yourself and how you can contribute to the expansion and development of that space. And so I believe that this is is more than just a tagline. You know, the challenge will always be to support the theme with innovative and robust principles and stuff that will support the team and get you to where you're trying to get to. You know, so to me, I think that we are on the right track. You know, it is certainly not going to be an easy journey, an easy road. You know, we have to deal with some bad inculcations that has been present in the space. But I think gradually and so on, you know, while we do work and continue with the education, we're going to get there.
Understood. And even as we wrap up our discussion this morning, is there anything that you want to say to your colleagues and Tobago moving forward?
Yes. Well, obviously, I believe that to whom much is given, much is required. You know, I always believe that promotion coming not from the east, the west, the north, nor the south. God sets up, God puts down. He uses the agency of people. You know, I know there are some people who have a difficulty with sometimes whoever is in governance, if it is not their party and thing, they have a difficulty reconciling that. But the fact is that the system that affords people to be in government, is a voting system that we use, and the people have made a decision that this is what they think. These are the people that should govern the space and so on. And so I think the onus is upon my colleagues and so on to live up to the responsibility, because the expectations certainly are going to be much higher. There will be no place for excuses. We have been hired by the Tobago community another time to provide a certain kind of government, to provide goods and services, and we are expected to step up to the plate and do the same. So my encouragement really to all my colleagues is really to put your hand to the task, and we have to get the work done one way or the other.
Understood. Well, we want to thank you so much for being here this morning and giving us those post-election victory comments and insights. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we have to end off our show here this morning. We want to thank you so much for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and have a great day.
Wake up and hear me neighbor, 60,000 people strong.